Hello and welcome to the panel at Dublin BIC. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of June, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ronan Quinlan, co-founder and CEO of Taoglas. Taoglas is an extraordinarily successful business around since 2003, headquartered now in Ireland, and in the business of antenna and IoT. But to tell us more about that, I'm going to go to Ronan. Please, can you give us a more comprehensive introduction to Taoglas?
Thanks, Martin, for that introduction. So, Taoglas has been around for 17 years already. We started off, we co-founded a company myself and a Wexford man, Dermot O'Shea, back in 2003. And we focused on GPS antennas. And I was based in Taiwan and he was based in Ireland, just the two of us. So we started off supplying GPS antennas for the tracking industry. And then we've moved into antennas for all types of wireless communications over the last the next 15 years or so. And in the last couple of years, we've branched out now into actual the technology stack of the Internet of Things for our customers. So we now have changed from being a pure antenna solutions provider to being more of a broadline IoT solutions technology stack provider.
Okay, and I do want to talk to you more about that, about the direction Taoglas is going. But first, give us a couple of vital statistics there with Taoglas: number of employees, number of offices, the kind of revenues that you're doing now.
Yeah, so today we have more than 300 employees spread around the world, headquartered in Enniscorthy, but very much operationally spread across the world. We find the best people where we can. So our production operations is coordinated in Taiwan, where we have a factory. We have a location in Shenzhen, in a lab in China. We have 3 locations back in Ireland. We also have an operation in Dublin where I reside. We also have 3 facilities in the US, in San Diego, Minneapolis, and in Florida. So that encompasses the whole operation of Taoglas. Very much, we like to think of ourselves as a global company these days, but we're proud to be an Irish headquartered company.
And the kind of revenues that you're doing now?
Oh yes, in the north of $50 million revenues. So it would be considered, medium-sized company in our IoT industry. A lot of volumes. So our business is not ones or twos. We would be talking about shipping over 20 million individual antenna widgets a year. But as I say, we're moving more into providing a full IoT solution going forward for our customers.
Who are typical customers right now?
Typical customers would be very famous names in Silicon Valley that don't like to have their name said.
Okay.
But you can think of the ones I'll be talking about. They have a lot of projects and they're very strong right now in IoT, and they're building out these managed services and connected solutions in logistics, in transportation. Then you have traditional customers in the telematics industry. So that's all that tracking and monitoring of trucks, cars, vehicles. Would be one of the main suppliers of components in that area. And another big market would be connected medical devices. So we supply the cellular antennas that allow those devices to be connected worldwide. And again, that is a very fast growing industry. So in fact, we apply to any kind of application you could think of, but you could go on forever with applications with IoT, but those sectors would be the highest volumes.
So Ronan, you're achieving $50 million revenue now, which is an amazing achievement, and congratulations on that and to everyone in Taoglas on it. Can you go back to ancient history and remember, how did you go about achieving your first early sales? What was your route to market? What was the strategy to beat the competition and to penetrate the market in the first place?
Well, I think, when you're starting off, now in 2003 was very different than today. I was based in Taiwan. was working for various Taiwanese electronics companies, and Dermot would have been based in Ireland. There wasn't the same funding environment, or there just wasn't that support network, especially for a company that would have been located between Enniscorthy and Taoyuan and in Taiwan. These were not the, are probably still not the highlights of the technology world. But so our objective was simple. Myself and Dermot would be different than most people. We come from a sales background in terms of our experience. So we would be always conscious of what can we provide in terms of value for the customer. So I had experience in the ceramic industry, dielectric ceramics. It's a type of wireless material that's suitable for wireless components. So we started with that ceramic material. We also supplied piezoelectric ceramics, but it turned out that our GPS antenna solutions were what customers wanted, so we doubled down on that. You could say it was an early pivot, and customers started ordering more. We set up deals with large factories in Taiwan. That's my expertise, in production management as well. So that's how we started it. And then we found these projects in the UK. For example, these companies will be supplying tracking solutions for Tesco and so on. And we started with that. And those customers would ask as well, we also need cellular antennas, we need Wi-Fi antennas. And do you supply these type of solutions? And of course, like any good salesman, we said we did. So
sorry, Ronan, I suspect it was the case right from the start that you were looking for the larger volume sales all the time from day one.
Yeah, well, we would come at it from what can we make and supply today, and that would be different than probably a lot of companies that start up even today with very much, new. You've got to have something new, and you've got to have something that's totally unique. Well, for us, it's more about what will a customer buy today, and of course, we want to develop a pipeline of solutions as we go forward. But as long as you can supply a competitive product, that's how we run our business. So it's a little different than some technology companies.
As you know, Ronan, a lot of what we do in Dublin BIC is work with startups to help them along on the investor journey and getting investment ready and networking with potential investment sources and all of that good stuff. And we've been doing that for 30 years, and there's lots of success stories coming out of that. But Taoglas has achieved what it's achieved. 300 employees, many locations around the world, $50 million sales per year, largely without any inward investment. You're largely a bootstrapped organization. So maybe I shouldn't be talking to you about this because it seems to suggest redundant with what we do in Dublin BIC, but I'd love to hear from you if you can tell us anything about the strategy behind that and why that was a strategy and how you've achieved such success with that strategy.
Yeah, well, like I said, this was Celtic Tiger year. I would have looked for investment from friends and family, and this was the time when people wanted to buy apartments in Bulgaria or Turkey, So why the hell would they, invest in some odd concept from Taiwan, So I did have a good friend of mine invested in the business who believed that we could do it. So, and that was, it wasn't, a huge amount of money, but probably was his life saving. So and we had our own money, and not huge amounts of money, but we got it going. So I would have been conscious from the Taiwanese about how they work their business. So they work based on cash flow, and how do you fund your company through cash flow? So we would have done deals with the factories where we got credit. And it's a lot of personal relationships and using the credit terms that are more advantageous from the factories, getting the money up front or 50% from the customer to get the ball rolling, and reinvesting the capital. Of course, we didn't pay ourselves salaries for a few years. So that helps. And I had to do English teaching in Taiwan in the evenings, so it wasn't that easy either, But the benefit, of course, is that we get to control the company ourselves and make our own decisions. Now, along the way, we have looked at getting investment, but it just never. There was one moment when we were about to sign terms with one investor, and then the financial crisis hit, and that investor actually pulled the plug. But to be honest, that it turned out we didn't really need the investment. We just kept going. So
for other businesses, that situation would have been the end of the road, if they didn't.
So it was because we had that cash flow system. I would have learned that from my background in the computer industry. We would have seen how Dell would have managed their cash. So that's the secret to why we haven't needed the investment. Now we have raised debt finance with HSBC last year to allow us to accomplish some pivotal acquisitions. So I'd be the last to say, don't take the money. No, do take the money, but at the right valuation is my advice to any entrepreneur. And stay in control.
Okay. Stay in control. And it sounds like in Taoglas you always have another option as well.
Yeah. So I would talk to entrepreneurs in Ireland, especially, and I would advise. There's good valuations today for startups, even without revenue. So that was not there 17 years ago. You couldn't even raise 100,000 euro, 17 years ago. And now you can raise millions as long as you have the right concept.
So you alluded to this earlier that historically Taoglas is all about antennae, whereas now you're moving on somewhat from that. Can you tell us about that? What technologically, in terms of product and markets, what does it look like for Taoglas?
So, when we started, the market was called machine-to-machine communications. Very unsexy name. And but even then it was going to be the next big thing. And then about 4 years ago, the big titans of the tracking of vehicles. But in the last few years, everything's being connected. So those customers are not your typical monitoring company. They're actually the leaders in their sector. So it would be household names, but they don't have big technology teams, So their choice is, do they found their own team? No. So what they do is they typically hire 3 or 4 experienced technology operators. But those people can't put together, a full solution. So they will go to, 5 or 6 suppliers of the platform, the hardware, the components, the network, the billing platform. So it's quite difficult for these companies, even with resources, to actually put together a stable system. So we've seen the challenges they've had, and we want to be able to offer them more of that technology stack, but crucially not tie them in, which is what happens when they go to some of these providers today, because there's very few companies that will offer them that selection, and we would like to do more in-house for them rather than them having to coordinate with 6 different technology providers. It's very much a difficult process for them. So we are achieving success already with this. We acquired the company Firmwave last year, a startup based in Dublin, and with 30 firmware engineers. So we're now offering these solutions and achieving our first project wins as part of the Taoglas group in the US and Europe. So it is happening. So we're delighted to see where we can take this business going forward.
Superb. So you're not sitting on your laurels. You're looking at the next opportunity, the next market, the next technology. That's superb. Can I ask what's the you're in a hyper competitive marketplace. What's the secret sauce in the DNA of Taoglas that allows you to achieve such success?
Well, it's easy to lose. It's easy to not successful even. In these COVID times and trade wars, every day you have to wake up and you have to go to work. So that's how we do our business. We have to have operational excellence in everything we do, whether that's production, R&D, cost engineering, quality. It's just basically, operating a very stable management team, stable, standards and operation procedures. Nothing fancy, but also a very hunger and ambition to be the best, to be number one worldwide. So that's our vision. We don't want to stop at being the best in Ireland or the best in the UK. We want to compete with the very best worldwide. So that's what drives us to a higher standard of excellence.
Very good. Ronan, my last question for you. You have this very interesting situation in Taoglas where yourself and your co-founder have been in co-CEO roles for 17 years, obviously doing that very successfully. It would be very typical for people in our position in Dublin BIC or for VCs to try to offer sage advice to founders about putting together shareholder agreements and all that kind of thing. And of course, we've seen many businesses fail because the founders fail to work together. Can you offer us any advice there as to what's made it such a success for yourself and your co-founder Dermot working together over such a long period?
Yeah, well, I think I always joke about this. I think it helps that we're located, 7,000 kilometers away from each other. So he's based in San Diego. He runs North American operations. But all jokes aside, he has two different personalities. He brings a lot to the plate in terms of a vitality to win big deals, to put together the best customer service, sales, operation. I bring my systems approach, I hope, and we try to respect each other's points of view. And we do have arguments like anybody, but the main point is to respect that you can differ on individual things all the time, but what's good for the long-term business, and for the team, and in the last couple of years, we've also realized, it's not about myself and the co-CEO, the co-founder. It's actually about, for the longevity of the company, it's the team that we're going to build around us. So we've hired in a great COO, Dennis Cashflow, who was the ex-president of Google Fiber, $1 billion division in the US. So, bringing in real talent around the world to manage this business. So, that's the way forward, constantly adapting. And what I would like to say is mutual respect. And I say it to everybody at Taoglas, we have to have mutual respect for each other, because it's not about being a superstar. It's just teamwork.
So diverse skills, mutual respect, and a 7,000 kilometer separation.
Yeah.
Sounds like a happy marriage.
Probably is.
Very good. Ronan, Taoglas is an amazing story, an amazing Irish success story. I know you've been very supportive of other smaller enterprises coming up behind you. So thank you for that as well. And it's been great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, man.